Creativity Podcast. I'm your host, Mari Riesberg. For the past several years, I've combined my degrees in acting and somatic psychology to share my sustaining creativity techniques with performers. And now I've decided to share it with a bigger audience that includes you. I believe we are all creative, and this podcast is all about that. I'll be interviewing people from all backgrounds, ages, and creativity experiences to share just how creative we all are. Today, I'll be chatting with Kim Sorrelle, entrepreneur, author, and speaker. Please enjoy Kim Sorrelle. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. Today, I am here with Kim Sorrelle, entrepreneur, director of a humanitarian organization, author, and speaker. Welcome to the podcast.
Mari, thank you so much for having me. I've been so looking forward to this.
Wonderful. I am so looking forward to this conversation as well. But before we dig into creativity and creative experiences, why don't you take a couple of minutes and let our listeners know a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Okay, well, I do several things, which is a little crazy, but I grew up in a family of crazy people, so apparently I come by it naturally. But I'm a mom, a grandma. Those are my most important roles probably in life. And then I started my first business when I was 18 years old and have started other businesses, sold most of them at the beginning of this year. And I've written a couple books and I speak and just whatever. I feel like my whole life is a creative journey.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And I love that you have so many things. I imagine parenting and grandparenting is also a creative endeavor.
You better be creative if you want to survive it. I'll tell you
right?
that. Yes.
Absolutely. And you've written a couple of books and you speak. Could you share a little bit about what are the topics that you tend to speak about and what do you write about?
Yeah. Well, my first book, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and went to the bookstore and everything was either medical or scary. And I didn't want either of those. And I thought, well, what does it feel like? I want to know what it's really like to have breast cancer. Do I have choices? Do I just do what the doctors say? I didn't know. I knew nothing. So I started writing as a way to update family and friends, but it was much more than that. And before I knew it, 5,000 people were reading what I was writing every day. And then 4 months into my diagnosis, my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and passed away 6 weeks later.
Oh my goodness.
And so I was still going through myself. So I continued to write through that. I wrote for about a year. And Cry Until You Laugh is the name of that book, because that's really what you have to do, because you have to be able to laugh again.
Yeah.
And then my second book, losing my husband, made me question the true meaning of love. It seems to be this mystery, right? You know, songs are written about it, movies, everything is about love. You see love everywhere, but what is it really? And so I took a year, I dedicated a full year to figuring out the true meaning of love. And mostly I was in Haiti when I was doing it. And that was an adventure. I was chased by a motorcycle gang. So it's not a rainbows and lollipops kind of a love book. It is the real things that happen to bring me to the discoveries. And so it's funny, but hopefully pretty enlightening. I sure learned a lot, changed my life. And the name of that book is Love Is. And so those are my books.
Nice.
And yeah.
I love that it's not all, as you said, rainbows and lollipops. It's real. These are the real human experiences that you have and how you navigated them, and ways I'm sure creativity showed up in not succumbing to a motorcycle gang or, getting out of that situation, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Well, with all of these experiences, I imagine you have some idea of what creativity is, but what would you say it means to you to be creative. Like, what does it mean to be creative to you?
To me, being creative means you don't just go with stock answers,
Mm.
but you look for other ways to get things done, other
Mm-hmm.
ways to live, other ways to exist, other ways to find happiness,
Yeah.
other ways to invent yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't just have to go with status quo.
Nice. Yeah. And I mean, it sounds like that's how you live your life as well, and wrote about your life, and I imagine discovered new things about yourself through your writing and sharing it with other people. What do you think is one of the biggest things you discovered about yourself while you were in that writing process?
That I knew hardly anything about love, that the
Mm.
things that I was taught about love are not what love really is, that there are things that are said in the name of love, done in the name of love, called love, that are not love.
Yeah.
And that uh living love,
Mm.
living and giving love, and living it the way it's meant to be,
Mm-hmm.
is the most freeing, joyous
Mm.
possible way to live.
That's amazing. I mean, just hearing you talk about the difference of what we think love is and then what love actually is and experiencing it. I'm so curious, like what is that experience of like full body love? You kind of touched a little bit on it, but I'm so curious for you because I imagine it's different for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it can be the same for everyone. How
Mhm.
you live it out might be different, but if you know what it really means, what love really is,
Mhm.
and and untrain your brain from what you thought it was,
Yeah.
that a lot of it is that, right? With anything, if we learned something the wrong way, bad habit or whatever it is,
Right.
right? But yeah, it was very interesting. So I took this 2,000-year-old poem that you hear at a lot of weddings: love is patient, love is kind, does not
Mm.
envy, does not boast. I decided I would take one word a month and figure out, well, what is love that is patient? Is it different than patience? What is love that is kind?
Mhm.
And I figured out quickly that it was going to take me longer than a year, because there's 14 is's and isn'ts of love in the book.
Yeah.
And so, 14 months rather than 12. But every single word, when you put love is or love is not in front of any word or phrase, it changes the meaning completely.
Yeah.
So, like, I went into it thinking I would know. We know
Mhm.
what patience is, right? We're
Mhm.
not stomping our foot because we're ready to go, and they're not ready to go, right? We're showing patience. Well, what I figured out though about love that is patient is that, first of all, I think you should just love everybody. Like, just love people, just love everybody. And love that is patient would say that you love the person you're with in such a way that you recognize that this is the most important moment of your life. What's
Mm.
in the past is in the past, and what's in the future is yet to come. This is
Mhm.
the moment that is going to come and go with or without you.
Mm.
And I'll tell you, for me to be totally in the moment and totally focusing on somebody was very difficult,
Yeah.
because I would be thinking about a meeting I had later, what I needed to stop and get at the grocery store, who needed to go to soccer practice, all the things that
Mhm.
I needed to get done yet that day, and thinking, this person's kind of taking my time here, whatever. But I would think that I heard. I thought I was a great multitasker and I
Mhm.
could focus on the conversation at the same time. But the truth is, I couldn't. I was
Yeah.
wrong. And so to be completely focused, to be completely here in the moment, the most amazing, beautiful things happen, like your ears open. And you no
Mm.
longer assume what somebody's going to say. You actually listen to what somebody's
Right.
going to say. You end
Yeah.
up finding out things that you would not find out otherwise
Mm.
when you truly engage and listen to people.
Yeah, that present moment, being really mindful of what is happening right here, right now. I mean, what a gift, not only to give yourself, but someone else as well in that moment. Yeah, I love
Right.
it.
Yeah. 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 It's a beautiful way to show love. I mean, and that's just the first of 14.
Yeah. Oh my
So
goodness. I'm sure in navigating all 14 of them, you kind of, I imagine, bumped up against some challenges or
Oh
things
my.
that like didn't agree with you, or you had to tease apart a little bit more. But I'm curious, what are some of those kind of creative challenges that you faced? And then how do you face challenge in your life?
Well, with this, everything was a creative challenge because it never been done before,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so, so I was winging it, it's
Mhm.
just figuring it out as I went. And every month it took me till the end of the month. I kept thinking, when am I going to figure this out? Because it seems so simple. So
Uh-huh.
I had to come up with some creative ways to try to figure things out and really look at it and make it work, I guess. And
Mhm.
so one of the times I had to be very creative
Mhm.
was um, there's a phrase that says that love keeps no record of wrongs.
Mm.
And I was working on it. I'm like, well, what does that even mean? Because we might forgive people, but we don't forget. I mean, we
Mhm.
live life. I mean, it's not like we forgive someone and our memory goes away. We
Yeah.
remember the things that happened to us, right?
Mhm.
So I'd been asked by this group of men from the United States to show them a water project I was working on in Haiti.
Mhm.
And so there were 8 men that came from the US, and I brought 2 Haitian friends who also happen to be men with us to translate. And they'd been working on the project. And we went out to the countryside where we were staying. And we got there, and it was just this small building with 2 rooms. And each room had 4 twin-size beds, 8
Mhm.
American men, 2 Haitian men, me. But we brought a couple of cots and an air mattress, and there was some room in the room. So I thought, we're fine. We'll be okay. Well, the head of the American men pulled me over. Kim, can I talk to you? I'm like, sure. And he said, did you see the rooms? And I'm thinking, buddy, there's nothing else to see. This is a little place. What are you talking about? And then I went, oh, he's going to think I want my own room. So I'm going to say, well, it's okay. I'll sleep outside. And he'll say, no, no, if anyone should sleep inside, it should be you. And I'll say, well, I don't care if there's other people in the room. And he'll go, good, because there's only so much space. So I said, oh, it's okay. I'll sleep outside. And he said, oh, good, good. Because we've got men on this trip that would not want to sleep with a woman in their room. Haiti is hot. What is possibly going to happen with a bunch of people in a room? I wear pajamas. Like, what is going to happen after dark? And it is pitch dark in Haiti. Like, I don't know what they imagined, but I said I would do it. So I had to get creative. I had to figure
Yeah.
out how am I going to sleep outside? And I saw this piece of plywood. It was sort of held up by these 2 wooden structures, kind of. And I thought,
Mhm.
well, if I sleep under that, at least I won't get wet.
Mhm.
So the first night, blew up the air mattress, put it underneath, crawled into bed. The air mattress held air for about an hour. And then I
No.
was sleeping in gravel. And it was so loud because dogs were barking and barking and horns were honking and honking.
Mhm.
And then finally that died down midnight, 1 a.m. And then 2 a.m., the voodoo drum started in the distance. And that went for a couple hours. And then finally things calmed down. I was finally able to sleep. Well, I was so afraid of something maiming me, dismembering me, attacking me. I mean, there's tarantulas and snakes and
Mhm.
chupacabras or whatever is lurking in the bushes of Haiti. I don't know. And so I was scared. I was afraid. So I slept on my back thinking that would be the easiest way to get up and run if I had to get up and run from anything, whatever that would be. So I went to sleep the first night, got a couple hours of sleep, woke up. It was uneventful. Nothing happened. I was
Mhm.
glad. Second night, same thing. No air in the air mattress, dogs and horns and voodoo drums. Finally, I'm asleep. But I woke up because there was something on my leg.
Mm.
And I thought, oh my word, does Haiti have the anti-venom to whatever is about to bite me? Am I
Mm.
going to get
Yeah.
airlifted to Miami in time to save my life? What is this going to be? And so I slowly lifted my head and I slowly opened my eyes. And it was a chicken. It was a chicken on my leg. And I didn't know whether to be mad because it woke me up from the little bit of sleep I was getting, or
Right.
happy that it was a chicken and not something worse. Right. So I shooed it away. Well, the third night came and went just fine. Fourth night, same thing. Dogs, horns, voodoo drums, finally sleeping. Again, I woke up because again, there was something on my leg.
Oh my
And
goodness.
again, I was trembling. I was scared to death. And I slowly lifted my head. And again, I slowly lifted my eye, opened my eyes. And again, it was the dang chicken. And again, I didn't know whether to be mad or happy. So I threw it away.
Yeah.
But the good news is we had chicken that night for dinner. So the fifth night came and went without incident. I was just fine. And I'll tell you, at first I was mad. I was kind of angry at these guys, kind of bitter.
Yeah.
I was thinking, man, I hope my sons wouldn't treat a woman like that.
Mm.
Like, I mean, I'm all about equality, but I'm still a woman,
Mm.
right? I'm still a human being. Felt like I was being treated as subhuman. You know, you sleep outside, you weaker person, you go sleep outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to have all these men and not one of them say, gosh, maybe Kim could sleep inside, you know, whatever. But so at first that was my attitude. Like, I was like, what are they thinking?
Mm-hmm.
And then I remembered that I was working on love doesn't keep a record of wrongs. And then it finally occurred to me what it meant.
Mm.
So what love doesn't keep a record of wrongs means that, of course, we don't forget the things that happen to us, but the narrative changes.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, oh my gosh, these rotten guys and this horrible thing that they did to me.
Yeah.
It's this funny thing that happened. And now I could literally sleep anywhere in the world and be perfectly comfortable.
Yeah.
So it's just the mood of the story that changes because we get to decide that, right? We get to
Absolutely.
decide our own stories. So
Yeah. I love it. I love the story and the challenges and how you shift things and how we can see things through a different lens and change our mindset and our relationship to how we look at something. And yeah, I mean, so much creativity goes into that. And, I can hear in my own head myself getting more frustrated and like, oh, why isn't this happening? But it sounds like the capacity to really just surrender to the experience and learn what you can from it. I feel like that is such a creative journey and creative experience that we forget that creativity can really show up in any situation, any area of our life, and offer some joy or something's funny or something we're curious about something. So thank you so much for sharing that story.
Yeah.
It's also, it sounds like you have a lot of things that give you inspiration or bring joy to your life, but who or what inspires joy today for you?
I have a granddaughter who lives with me. She's 17 years old, and her sister stays with me quite a bit too. She's 15. And those two girls, I'll tell you what, I've got 11 grandkids. They are all incredible and wonderful. I just happen to see these two a lot more often.
Mm-hmm.
But my 17-year-old granddaughter plays the viola. She is in a special orchestra in my city. I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. She's in St. Cecilia's Orchestra, which is its own gig that you have to try out for. She's in her school orchestra. She has art skills like that are just amazing, the things that come out of her head and onto a paintbrush and onto a canvas.
Yeah.
And just her life in general to me is just such an inspiration. She just has such great wisdom. I mean, she's 17 years old. The other day we were putting our Christmas tree up because of course, right after Halloween, it used to be after Thanksgiving, but now apparently it's after Halloween you put your tree up. I don't get it, but whatever. Anyway, we were putting the Christmas tree up, and I used to call my husband Grinch because he could be a little bah humbug as I'm Christmas crazy, baking cookies and making things. I love to make gifts. If you have any great ideas for me, I'd take them. But I love to make gifts for Christmas. And so we were putting up the tree, and I had a Grinch ornament that I had given him years ago, and I dropped it and it broke. And I went, oh, that was Papa. They called him Papa. That was Papa's ornament. And this wise, beyond her years, 17-year-old she said, Uma, they call me Uma, like Uma Thurman. I like that too. She said, Uma, you might lose things, but you don't lose the people. You always have the memories. I'm like, what was that? You're so right.
Yeah.
I know. So yeah, so I draw a lot of creative inspiration from that girl.
I love it. It's wonderful to have people in our lives that bring us joy, or we can share joyous moments with, even through pain or sadness, or, the breaking of an ornament that was meaningful, and how we can continue to move forward and grow from it. But yeah, I seriously love all the stories that you're sharing. They're great. I mean, in being a speaker and an author and an entrepreneur and working with the multitudes of individuals that you have, I imagine you come across people who may not believe that they're creative or consider themselves to be creative. How would you encourage others to find creativity in their lives?
I think people put creativity in a box, and they think that you must have to be able to write songs, or
Right.
you must be able to paint like Picasso, or you must be able to write to be creative. You must be the greatest home decorator, or something art. But creativity is so beyond art. It's so much more than that. It's how you live your life. And I think people need to be released from the old thinking of what creativity is, their old thinking, the box that they put themselves in, right? And realize that they're probably being a lot more creative than they realize, because
Right.
we have to be to get through life, right? I mean, we have to be creative. And then I think if they feel like, oh wow, creativity is so much more than art and music and dance and acting, that creativity is something in your everyday, that people would probably be more creative if they realize that they can be, just they don't have to paint. It's okay. They have to be artistic. It's okay.
Yeah. What are those everyday issues that you've used creativity to solve?
Well, even things like stuck in a traffic jam.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can either be angry and let your blood pressure go up and honk the horn, or you can quick surf and get a great podcast going, because you're
Yeah,
stuck there anyway. So be creative and find something good to listen to, right? Like this
absolutely.
particular podcast, for instance, would be
Yes.
the best podcast to turn to in the traffic jam. And then your
Right?
blood pressure doesn't have to go up. It might even go down a little.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. That's a great solution to a problem, being stuck in traffic. And there are solutions, the creative solutions. I love it. Yeah. Well, it has been such a treat chatting with you. I just have one last question. What does it feel like in your body to be creative?
Um, Exciting, I would have to
Mm.
say
Hmm.
that I I love a challenge, and most challenges are creatively solved.
Yeah.
And so uh, I would say it feels natural and normal, but also exciting and fun.
I love it. I love that it feels natural and normal, because I think it should be natural and normal that creativity is a part of our experience and existence and being. So thank you for reminding us of the normal and natural experience of creativity. Yeah,
My,
it's
my pleasure. You're wonderful, and I love your show. I love
thank you so much. Well, it's been a real treat getting to chat with you. If people want to learn more about your books and the other things that you do, how could they go about doing that?
Yeah, well, my books are available on Amazon. My latest book, Love
Mhm.
is available in brick and mortar stores as well. And it's been an amazing journey, this love journey.
Mm.
People are buying it for everybody for Christmas. I mean, it's a pretty inexpensive gift, but it's giving the gift of love. Like, it's a whole different life. I did everyone's homework for them.
Mm.
Nobody else has to go spend a year in Haiti to figure out the meaning of love, because I wrote it all down. And so, and people are using it like There's families that are being very creative and that are giving it to all their adult children and who live all over the country or the world. And then they're doing a monthly Zoom and talking about a chapter and what it means. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So companies that are buying it for staff and having a monthly meeting, I mean, it's going crazy. And I'll tell you, if we get this love thing going, the world's going to be a different place. So kimsorrelle.com is my website. My last name's ridiculous. Way too many letters, 2 R's, 2 E's, 2 L's, Sorrelle. Who's ever going to remember that? But I am literally the only Kim Sorrelle in the world spelled my way. But you can also get to my website at loveis.info. A little bit easier to remember. But Google me. I'm on social media. I'm everywhere. I love to connect with people, love to be a part of things, love to do workshops and teach people about love. So if anybody needs speaker or workshop leader, retreat, want to go on a retreat, I've got one planned in Australia, another one in California. So there's going to be some fun stuff. So anyway, yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I will put all of that in our show notes so people have easy access, can find the links there. And thank you again so much for taking the time to chat with me about creativity. It has been a pure pleasure.
The pleasure, for me too, it's been a pure pleasure talking to you. So thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thanks for listening to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. We'd love to keep in touch, so follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Sustaining Creativity. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tag your friends and family so they can listen too. We love to hear from you, so leave your reviews, comments, and questions. Check out our website, sustainingcreativity.com, for upcoming offerings and creativity coaching. Tune in Tuesdays for our next episode. And remember, with creativity, anything's possible.